Elizabeth, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you so much for accepting. I mean, what better way to have a Tuesday afternoon or evening, depending on when you are, with someone as badass as you? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There you go. Well, so welcome here. So before we start, I have to give you a proper welcome. If you have seen some of my episodes before, you know exactly what I'm about to do. If not, that's even better because then I can surprise you. So let me show you.
Yay! Thank you.
So, starting with the whole interview now. Tell me how your passion for art started.
Well, I was definitely the Southern California kid, 11-year-old on my skateboard, and my grandmother decided to take me and my three siblings to see the King Tut exhibit at LACMA. So that just blew my mind. The idea of, mummies and hieroglyphics and this history I knew nothing about, from my little Southern California bubble. So that definitely was my inspiration to start learning more about the world and art. And I really wanted to go in a pyramid. And, I made a little clay sculpture of the Sphinx at one point in school. So that was kind of where it all started.
That's so cool. And what were some of the challenges that you had when you originally started, with the whole art journey? I think we all have them, right? Whenever we are in this new path, at first, we just don't know what the heck we're doing, right? So for you, what were some of those challenges?
Right. Well, I think for all of us in the arts, one challenge is financially, right? Can you make a living financially in the arts doing what you want to do? So I kind of made, I was going to be a lawyer and I was thinking of art law, but at one point early on, I decided I really just wanted to follow my passion of either art history or being an artist myself and to kind of give up the material things. It was a hard decision, but I've been, pretty much following it ever since. And I didn't know if I wanted to be the artist or the art historian, so I kind of jumped around with galleries and museum work, but settled on the art historian. So yeah, it's going great. It's been fun.
That's so cool. So cool. Now, before we continue, that noise in the background are my dogs. So my brother just came in. My brothers go crazy. My dogs go crazy. So
I have a little pug, so I get it. It's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. So that is, that is interesting. That whenever you are, in this either arts or content creator or something, at first, it's not as you thought that it is, I would say that it takes like a lot of courage for you to stay in that path, knowing exactly what are you going against. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you're doing it. You're creating this platform for artists and, and actors and, creating this single platform to get information out there to everybody. And I think it's wonderful. And I think we all in the arts kind of find our niche, how to add our tune to the world, so to speak. So, thank you for your, how you're doing that. So.
No, thank you so much. That is, it's really cool. When I started this project, at first, I wanted to kind of, like to inspire people. I was constantly having this question in my head about, like, is this how you're supposed to live? I mean, I used to work for this company. They fired me. And I was just so pissed because I was like, I worked in that place for 3 years, and just because I got into an artist, they didn't like me. They basically throw me to the street, and I wasted those 3 years of my life. Is that is this how life is supposed to be? So then I was just constantly questioning myself. But then I was like, like actors, athletes, musicians, painters, photographers, all of those people, they don't do that. So there has to be like a way to do it. So that's how I started to kind of pitch the idea of this whole platform, basically. So
yeah, it's great, wonderful, thank you. Yeah.
And what do you like the most about art in general?
I think it's just the stories, the stories of how the movements got started, how the artists themselves got started, what the stories behind paintings. Like, for example, the Norwegian artist Edvard Munch, the Scream, the famous painting, The Scream. He's on a bridge with like red and yellow behind him in the sky, and everyone thought he was a little maybe crazy, like, why is he doing such bright colors? But as it turns out, there was a volcano, Krakatoa, erupted in Europe at that time, and all the skies over Europe were kind of that orangey red. And I thought that was sort of an interesting story. It kind of documents why the sky maybe was that color, And there was another story. I don't know if this one's true, and if anyone knows, I'd love to know. But supposedly when Napoleon was down during the Egyptian campaign down in Cairo, him and all his officers were kind of bored, and so they decided to like shoot their cannon at the Sphinx's nose and shoot it off. And supposedly that's why the Sphinx doesn't have a nose, but I'm not sure that's true. It could also be just erosion in time, but that's one of the myths floating out there in the art world. So
cool.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah. And what do you think it's one of the reasons why people get inspired by art?
I think art it reflects the human condition and the culture. I mean, art has everything, right? History, love, hate, war, inspiration, the gods, like I said, history, nature. I just think it encompasses everything, and I think everyone can relate to one aspect of it, or one aspect speaks to them or heals them, or have a reaction to some part of the art. So I find that very interesting. You can say that for poetry too, or reading. Everyone has their kind of niche,
Yeah, and I think it is also one of the cool things that more people get inspired by the work of others, and then the work for those people get inspired other people. It's like an ongoing circle.
Right.
So cool.
Right.
That's
right.
So cool.
So
now, now moving forward with a little bit with your career here, let's talk about your book, Warhol, Dr. Seuss, and the Making of America. Tell me how you got inspired to write that book.
Well, it was actually based on my dissertation for my PhD, and I just thought, in all the culture and art, they sort of marry together. They push each other in different directions, and I was thinking of America, and in the 1950s, America was a little bit stagnant, and then also in the 60s, right? Why did all of a sudden we have the hippie movement, the new music, a lot of gender issues have changed, civil rights, and why did that happen? And so kind of picking Dr. Seuss and Andy Warhol, I feel like their art kind of pushed all those movements forward a little bit, and so I wanted to dive deeper into that, just to see kind of all the different areas of the culture. So I wrote a chapter on war, commercialism, music, and the environment, which obviously Dr. Seuss, the famous children's author, wrote the Lorax, and that was like such an inspirational book for a lot of children and even adults about environmental conservation. And even Andy Warhol, which I didn't know this, he supposedly owned acres of land in Colorado that was just undeveloped land. And he also co-authored a book on extinguished animals that have gone extinct. So, they both had this passion for environmental conservation, as well as there's examples in all the other chapters as well. So it was a fun journey for me. I learned a ton. And and I understand now why America, we kind of are where we are right now too. You need to look to the past to understand, the present, I think, a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
And what are some of the things that we can expect on that book, and where can we get it?
You can get it on Amazon, and I think at first look, you think of Andy Warhol and Dr. Seuss, pretty colorful, simple artwork, but there's a lot deeper meaning in their artwork. For example, Dr. Seuss's book, Yertle the Turtle, which is a famous children's book there's a big turtle on top, and he wants to be king of all the land that you can see. And so he kept making all the other little turtles go under and make them go higher and higher. And that was definitely a nod to, I think, Hitler and dictatorship. And that's kind of a lesson, and we all got to help each other. And I think it was at a level that kids can understand. And, I think Andy Warhol, again, he, was picking these subject matters that a lot of people in the art world didn't respect. I mean, he's painting Campbell's soup cans, Brillo pads. He painted a whole painting of just dollar bills. And I think he was kind of putting back in the culture space, is it all about stuff, We need to think, is that bringing us happiness? And so I think they're both commenting on the culture and pushing us in different ways. The research was really fun. I love researching it all. I unfortunately couldn't put images in the book due to the rights that you have. The art must be dead 100 years. And I fought with the the Warhol Foundation. I got images from the Warhol Foundation, but the Dr. Seuss Foundation supposedly is notorious really difficult. So I couldn't get it from them. But moving forward, I'm writing books a little bit older, so I can use all the images, which will be great. So
that's so cool. That's so cool. Now, talking about new books, you have an upcoming book called Van Gogh, Rembrandt, and the Making of Netherlands. What can you tell me about it, and when is it going to be released?
Probably released in the next year or two. I'm just starting my research on it. Again, I kind of want to go around the world and learn about major artists in different countries and how that kind of related to their culture. Okay. So I thought, you know, Rembrandt in the Netherlands or Holland, he was painting during the Golden Age, you know, the tulip trade. The Dutch were the merchants of Europe. I mean, that was the place. Yeah. And then 200 years later, along comes Van Gogh and kind of the Protestant Reformation. And why did Van Gogh paint, you know, potato eaters and trees? And it's such different subject matter, where Van Gogh was painting the wealthy merchants, and kind of what happened in that 200 years and why are these artists so different, but they're both Dutch, you know? So I just thought that'd be, again, kind of like the Warhol and Dr. Seuss, interesting for me to learn, and anyone that's interested in art, you know, to read the book as well. So that's kind of my thought.
I love it. Yeah. And what usually inspires you to start writing?
I think just learning more. I've always been sort of a seeker in life, and I love learning about most things, but I really love learning about art, I have to say. So again, to find those stories with Van Gogh, Rembrandt, or I also have a Instagram where I post information about different artists, and I have a blog. So I just keep researching all different aspects of sort of the art community, and I'm constantly learning. And that's really fun for me, as I'm sure you do too, interviewing everybody, you know. It's just fun to keep, I love it, yeah. So I keep learning, and I just got offered a professorship too, so I'll be teaching, which will be fun, the Masters of Art History program at my alma mater. So that will be a different way to teach too. So yeah, so that's kind of why, just putting it out there and available to others that are interested.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Love that. And if you could describe your career at the moment on a movie, TV show, book, a play, even a musical, why not? What would be the title of it?
Will probably be a book. And I'm a pretty straightforward person, perhaps just the, PhD research. And so I'd probably just call it like art, read this. Yeah. Or something. Or I could, obviously I could focus on, funny art stories, or, break it down in different sections or something. But yeah, something simple like that would be fun. So. Okay.
And if you could describe again your career, but now on a drink, which one would you pick?
Ooh, a drink. Probably red wine, because red wine, like art, has been around forever. In 3000 BC, the pharaohs were drinking wine. So I feel like I gotta, keep that tradition going, and keep drinking my red wine keep the art going in the world, and, join the pharaohs. That's kind of fun. So
there you go.
That's my thought.
Yeah. Now, what motivates you? We all have those days in which we just want to quit. We think that that somehow it's been like a waste of time, or even a waste of life at the same time. I mean, right. Getting into all of this toxic thoughts is super easy, right? But what gets you out of it? What just gets you back on track and just keep pursuing the thing that you love the most?
I mean, I think we're all stuck. Is this important? Is what I'm doing important? And, I get stuck in that as well. And, are enough people buying my book? Is it meaningful? Is it out there enough? But I think really we all have something to add. We all have our chips to add to the pot. Yeah. And this is my chip. And if tons of people read it and love it, or read my blog, great. If no one does, I'm putting my chip in at least, right? I'm participating in the game of life, so to speak. So I get a lot of pleasure out of that, and it inspires me to keep going, because we all have rough patches in life and great patches, but you kind of need that one thread to, keep going and contribute something while we're here, on this beautiful earth. So that's kind of my thought on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, we only live once, and I do believe that we all have our the right to just live the life that we want to, regardless if you want to be a musician, actor, writer, whatever, I mean, if at the end of the day that's your dream, I think you should go out and just do it, basically,
Yeah, I mean, it's scary too. I mean, I was
totally.
Like I said, the law degree was much safer financially for me. But I'm like, whatever, you know, you live once, so just go for it, you know. And I'm so proud of my daughter's an actress, my other one's like a scientist, so they're kind of doing their thing, and I'm just proud of them, you know. And it's, you know, I've been to parties with artists, and it's so fun and interesting. And I've been to parties with law people, lawyers, and although they're super intellectual and interesting, it's a different vibe, right? You need to find your kind of vibe. And, you know, I prefer the kind of pushing the philosophers of life. I think that's an interesting group of people that can question the meaning of life. And, you know, I find that interesting and intriguing. So
yeah,
keep that with those people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And like my last question here is, what can we expect from you in the future?
Continuing on with with all my art, but I'd really love to do my continue writing books. It's a little like my my concert tour, but I'm starting with America. I'd love to go and the Netherlands is next, so I'll write about Van Gogh and Rembrandt, and then maybe kind of the Russian French artists of Chagall and Kandinsky are very interesting, and how they kind of went from Russian to living in France, and their art and the culture and how it influenced them. And then maybe to England, to Constable, and Turner is one of my favorite artists. So just kind of pick different countries and go around. And I don't know a lot of major artists in a lot of countries. I don't know the big Japanese artists or, Korean artists. So I think it'd be fun just to slowly go around the world and,
There you go. I love that.
They'll be available, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And you know what? I'm super sure that it's going to happen. I'm super sure that at some point we're going to have all of your books in all different languages.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Because I mean, one of the things that I do enjoy the most about talking, with amazing talented people like you, is that you were doing it because you like it. And as simple as it might sound, it is super hard to do something that you like and to actually make a living of it. It is super hard, and the fact that all of you guys are actually doing it, I think that is super inspiring, and I'm super sure, as I said, that eventually your books are gonna be basically everywhere. You can hear me on that. That is gonna happen.
Yeah, and luckily my boyfriend is a punk rock photographer, but he also has a real job, so that helps, right? All of us.
There you go.
Art, so, yeah.
Absolutely, I can understand that. And again, Elizabeth, I mean, what can I say? I mean, your career it is super cool. It is amazing. I mean, everything you're doing, everything that you're doing here and there, it is super inspiring. And I mean, as I said before, I'm super sure that eventually we're gonna see your books basically everywhere. You can count on that for sure. And,
hopefully museum bookstores at least, So.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also I want to thank those watching this right now. Thank you so much for watching. If you're watching this either later here on Instagram or later on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure that you follow Elizabeth. Normally what I would say is, if you already follow her, that's fantastic. Then we're gonna make her viral. I mean, #Team Elizabeth, because she's awesome. She's amazing. And Elizabeth, before I send you off, I need to send you properly again in an epic way. So you know what is coming. And here we go.
Yay! Thank you so much, Dan. You're awesome.
And keep killing it, keep being awesome, and have an amazing rest of the week.
Thank
and
you.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.